Good afternoon. I'm John Irvin, the Director of Admissions. Of all the things I could tell you about myself, the most important is that I'm a proud graduate of St. Peter's Prep. My experience began more than 40 years ago. I knew I was coming to prep because my older brother had come to prep years earlier. Although I didn't have much say in the decision, I was sure this was the place I wanted to be. My mother even had to take a part-time job to pay my tuition, but she always said it was well worth the sacrifice. During my 4 years here, I was able to find my independence, enjoy the adventures of the commute, although I was only one stop on the PATH train, meet teachers who inspired me, play a sport that I loved, discover clubs that intrigued me, and become part of a brotherhood of friends that I have to this day. Congratulations, you've done it. You've been admitted. I hope you realize what a great accomplishment that is. The hard work, the studying, the sacrifices have paid off. You have the chance to continue your education at St. Peter's Prep. It is an opportunity to surround yourself with challenging people and ideas. It's a chance to be part of a school, not just for 4 years, but for the rest of your life. And you may not end up spending most of your life here like I have, but I wouldn't have thought that either when I was an 8th grader. But even if you only spend the next 4 years at prep, you will feel as if it's a second home. And believe me, prep will stay with you for the rest of your life. It may be a teacher or a lesson that you will never forget. It may be the memories and connections that you make as part of a team or club. It may be your closest friends in the entire world whom you haven't even met yet. St. Peter's is a special place. It's certainly much more than just a school. I hope that you will join us as a member of the class of 2025. But more importantly, I hope you find happiness and success wherever your high school years find you. I'm so happy to welcome you to our virtual accepted students reception. Now, some of you know that prep will be your home for the next 4 years, and some of you still need to make that final decision. So listen to our speakers, enjoy the presentations, and feel free to ask questions. This time, I would like to introduce our student speaker and the MC for this event, Connor Bancuti. Connor, do you remember the first time I met you?
Yes, I do, Mr. Irvin. Absolutely.
And when was that?
It was soccer camp, I believe late August. We were preparing for the upcoming season.
Yes, I'm a former soccer coach and still get to go up to soccer camp a couple days each year. And I go up and I like to work with the goalkeepers. And Connor was a freshman goalkeeper. And after just spending 2 days with him, I said, wow, this guy's pretty special. When we returned in September, I actually asked him to be one of our freshman ambassadors. And he was an all-star doing that, one of our busiest ambassadors during the year. And then he returned as a sophomore to help run the freshman for day room. So excited to have Connor here to MC our event. Connor Bancuti.
Thank you so much, Mr. Irvin. I really appreciate the kind words, really. Hello, everyone. My name is Connor Bancuti, and I'm a junior at St. Peter's Prep. Not long ago, I was sitting in your position back in 2018. At that time, I was not sure prep was the best choice for me because prep is an hour and a half away from my home by public transportation, and it is a much bigger environment than my small Catholic middle school. I was nervous that I would have trouble acclimating to prep, and I would not be able to make the most of my high school experience. But ever since I chose prep, I have been able to pursue my academic interests, and prep has been preparing me for life beyond prep in so many ways. That is, as the motto goes, prep for life. Let's talk about prep for important life skills. Every morning, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. to begin my day with a commute to prep by train. While on the train, I prepare for my day. I finish up some homework, I study for a test, and I even get some extra sleep. The commute that I once feared has helped me instead to learn time management, responsibility, as well as how to navigate from a small town to a city each day. Prep for the academic challenges that lie ahead. When I arrive at prep, classes begin at 8:10 a.m. I not only enjoy my classes, but the teachers here at prep take a genuine interest in you, not just as a student, but as a person. Many of the teachers here at Prep are not only my teachers, they are also my friends. The classes are challenging, but the teachers are always available to support us, offering us time before and after school, as well as during our free periods. They want you to succeed. Unlike many other schools, Prep also pairs its students with a guidance counselor and offers a group guidance class. This has been an invaluable resource for me, which not only helped me to acclimate to high school academics, but also provide good advice on other important issues like mental health and maintaining a life balance. Let's talk about the prep for the road ahead. Prep takes seriously not only who you are academically, but socially as well. Despite my long commute, Prep has presented me with so many ways to be involved and to make friends. As a member of the student council, the soccer and volleyball teams, the medical club, a Sheehan Scholar, the National Science Honor Society, the Library Advisory Board, the Freshman for a Day program, and chairperson of the Mental Health Committee, I have a full life outside the classroom as well, thanks to St. Peter's Prep. I not only stay fit, learn leadership skills, have fun, pursue my interests, and perform community service, I have also made some of the best friends that I've ever met in my entire life that I will call brothers at the end of this 4 years. At Prep, they care and educate the whole person. See, if you choose to come to St. Peter's Prep, you are not just selecting a school, but you are also selecting a way of living. At Prep, you learn just as much inside the classroom as you do outside the classroom. Prep cares about who you become as a student, as an individual, and as a member of society. Prep prepares you for life beyond its walls. Just remember, gentlemen, it's not Prep for 4 years. It is Prep for life. And at this time, I would like to introduce our president, Dr. Gomez.
Thank you, Connor. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, well, good afternoon, my future Prep brothers and their families. And to the alumni in our audience today, welcome home. So I'm going to give you a little welcome and then share a short prayer, and then I'll close with just 2 very short points. So first, to my future Prep brothers, let me acknowledge your acceptance into the greatest school on the planet. I mean, come on. Do you want the president of your high school to think anything else?
Dr. Gomez, I hate to interrupt you, but you're lagging a little bit. Maybe you can turn your video off and I'll have the slide on, okay?
Is that better, Sky? Okay. So yes, I am a little biased. I am a former board member, a former English teacher and baseball coach, and I am a St. Peter's Prep graduate. I am biased, but this is the house that has built me and other men who are leading and teaching and discovering and working and serving and praying and loving all over this country and all over the world. I'm hoping someday soon that you join that sacred brotherhood. Please know how excited I will be when you decide to make this place your home, not just for the next 4 years, but as Connor said, for life. Let me also point out that St. Peter's Prep's 150th anniversary celebration begins this July and will last 18 months. When you enroll here, you are going to be a part of an extraordinary group of people, alumni from the 1940s to today, former teachers and coaches, past parents and board members, and of course, current students, faculty, and staff. All of us celebrating Prep at 150, Prep for life, and Prep forever. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us, and I'm so glad you can be a part of that with your family and the great new friends you will make here. Now, just for a second, gentlemen, I would like you to think a bit with me. Think about what got you to this exact moment. It's not just good grades. You might be thinking about your work ethic. You worked hard to earn these grades. Maybe it's your desire, a great desire for excellence, a desire to succeed. Maybe you're thinking about your commitment to pursue other interests outside of the classroom, a commitment to follow your passions. All good answers, all good traits and habits. These are the traits and habits that you will continue to develop at St. Peter's Prep. You'll be challenged in all those areas as a student here, and I promise you will grow immensely in all of those areas. But let's go back to the original question. What got you to this moment? At Prep, the possible answers I just shared are good answers, but they are not the first answers you should be thinking about. As a student here, you will also learn that when you hear that question, you don't think of yourself first, you think of others. You think of gratitude. You think of the coach who didn't give up on you when you struggled. You think of the friends who supported you and cheered for you when you did great. You think of the teacher who inspired you to love a subject you didn't even like at first. You think of your God and thank him or her for the gifts you have been given. And of course, you thank your parents for that unconditional love on the great days and the not so great days. So do me a favor right now. Thank your parents. Thank them right now. Turn to them if you're sharing a screen, or yell to them if they're in a different room. But please say thank you and I love you. Even though I can't see you, at Prep, you will learn that character is what you do when no one is watching. So I trust that you are listening to me. That's Prep. I can never stress that enough. We do things together, together, together. We walk the road together. We win together. We lose together. We laugh together, pray together, play together, and sometimes we mourn together. That's Prep. You'll be asked to share that work ethic, that desire for excellence, that passion, so much so that it adds to this beautiful tapestry, this almost 150-year-old tapestry that is constantly expanding and deepening, moving forward, forever forward together. So it's in the spirit of togetherness. Let's pray. I know this is a time where we recognize in our country how vulnerable and fragile we all are. We recognize how dependent we are on each other. We see that when we take care of ourselves, we are not just doing that for ourselves, we're doing that for the community. Said better, we're doing that for the greater glory of God. And in this time of vulnerability, in depending on each other, I would hope that we see that as a strength. Your success is my success and your failure is my failure. Good Lord, we pray for the humility and the resilience to walk the road together. Let me close with 2 points before I turn it over to Connor. First, I look forward to the day when I do call you my Prep brother. I look forward to 4 years of cheering for you and challenging you in the heart of downtown Jersey City, the most diverse city in the United States and the most diverse Jesuit high school in the United States. And I look forward to giving you your diploma in the May of 2025 and you answering my question, what got you to this moment? You're gonna have such a story to tell. My second point is to our parents. The most important thing I can promise you is that your son will be loved at Prep. That is our number one responsibility. Of course, he will be challenged and respected and held accountable, but he will be loved and taught to change the world, put a dent in the universe. So with that in mind, enjoy the day. And as always, let's go Prep. My Prep brother, Connor, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. At this time, I would like to introduce our English department chair, Mr. Caulfield. And Mr. Caulfield, I heard that you were an excellent soccer player when you attended Prep yourself. You played for Mr. Irvin, and you were also an outstanding track star. So the question I have for you is, when many of our recent graduates return to St. Peter's, they say that college seems easier than Prep, mainly basically because they know how to write. How would you respond to that comment?
Thanks a lot, Connor. Track star and excellent soccer player might be overstatements there, but I did play for Mr. Irvin. He was really, really formative in my development as a man. And, I think that's something that's great about Prep. Coaches and teachers alike, you don't get that kind of experience at all places. But with Prep, it really is a special bond that you create with both your teachers and your coaches. So I'm super thankful for that. Aside from that, getting to your question, yeah, the the English department really focuses heavily on writing. That's pretty much the first place we start whenever we plan anything in the department. And so just to give a little bit of background for that, what we try to do is we really look at an organized approach to the structure of an essay. So freshman year, we really look at kind of starting off at a very basic point with a 3-paragraph essay, focusing heavily on the organization of an introductory paragraph, a body paragraph, and a conclusion paragraph. And then we graduate during the freshman year to a 5-paragraph essay. And ultimately, like I said, we really focus on the organized approach there, the structure of the essay. And as we go through the years in the department, we start to focus heavily on the analysis and those body paragraphs that I mentioned. One of the kind of focuses that we take is actually an advanced placement approach. So even our regular classes are working on skills that AP classes would be working on. And that's focusing heavily on text and specific text elements in their analysis. To include that and to prepare kids for college especially. And I think this is why many of our alumni say that they found college really easy. A little fun fact and a name drop for everyone. Micah Fitzpatrick, who currently plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers, went to the University of Alabama and also ran track for me when he was here. He texted me the very first month of school at Alabama to let me know that he got an A on his first college paper. So, I think that is just a great story to show what we do here at Prep because we focus heavily on research papers as well. We give a research paper during sophomore year based on the play Fences by August Wilson. And then we give another research paper junior year on Shakespeare's play Macbeth. The sophomore year paper is a little bit more hand-holding. We try to get everyone kind of acclimated in that process. And then we take the training wheels off a bit in junior year to prepare guys for what they'll have to see certainly in their freshman English courses during college. So hopefully that answered the question. Thanks everyone for joining.
This is Trish Fitzpatrick, and I do have a question for Mr. Caulfield, actually 2 interesting questions. One, what is your favorite book to teach or your favorite character to teach? And the second one, you talked about the foundational approach that you have, but one of our young men in the class of 25 noticed that there's some interesting electives. So if you could just talk about your favorite book or character, and then just maybe briefly on electives.
Yeah, that's a great question. This is a funny one. My favorite book to teach, my favorite book of all time, and the book that I wrote about on my admissions essay for St. Peter's are all the same, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird. It's always been a favorite of mine, and the focus, I guess, that I would take, or the character that I kind of enjoy the most is Boo Radley, talking about, him as a character and, how he applies to the human condition in general. So that's one. And then the other, we do have some great electives on the senior level. So I actually teach one of the senior electives, African American literature. Then we also have the literature of New York City as one elective, dystopian literature as another elective, sci-fi and fantasy as an elective, and the pursuit of purpose in literature. And those are more about life in general and some really interesting people who have written books over the years. So.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield. Now I would like to introduce our science department chair, Mr. Comey. Now, on a personal level, I had Mr. Comey for 2 years in a row for a chemistry class that I enjoyed so much. So I want to thank Mr. Comey personally for those amazing 2 years. And now, Mr. Comey, the question I have for you today is you helped to reconstruct the science curriculum a few years ago. What were those changes and how have they benefited the students at Prep?
Sure. Thank you, Connor. It was also a pleasure to have you for 2 years, and I miss you. So next time you're on campus, please stop by and visit me. So when we redid the science curriculum, my main focus was on course progression. In many schools, students follow a very linear path. All freshmen are going to take biology. All sophomores are going to take chemistry. Then junior year comes physics. So it was a very one-size-fits-all approach. Excuse me. So at Prep, we went for more of a tier-based system that allows for students to have flexibility in what they choose. And we've really focused on the critical thinking skills that really accompany science instead of simply just the course content. Our students get to have a say in what they study, and they can focus on what interests them, but still develop the same sets of skills they would be in any course. I'm going to share a picture of the model. Hopefully I do this correctly. So in freshman year, our students come in and they land in physical science. Now, physical science is a course that focuses on introductory level physics and chemistry. And in their sophomore year, it opens up to a choice for some of the more hard sciences, chemistry, physics, biology. One of the questions I get asked the most is, why didn't we put our freshmen into biology? The answer is, over the last 10 to 15 years, the way biology taught has really changed. It's more focused on the cellular and biochemistry level, so our students need to have some chemistry background so they can jump into and really understand biology at its core and for how evolution really works. Beyond tier A, they can jump into tier B, which is more of an in-depth study of sciences. They're more advanced in that nature, and they need some basis that comes before them. We do allow our students to place out of that freshman year course from physical science through the math placement exam, and they land into chemistry honors, and that's for the same reason as why not biology first. I need to make sure that our students have that really nice level, that foundation for them to land into to be really and truly successful. The most wonderful part of the model, I think, is that students do have a choice. Students can take ownership of their education. My department works very closely with the guidance department to help students make the correct choice for them and for what their college and career goals are. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. Every student is unique. Every student is different. And being able to empower them and work with them and watch them grow into the wonderful junior that's leading our event right now, that's the power and beautiful nature of what prep does, and even what just a science curriculum can do. So Connor, I have a quick question for you then. How do you feel about it? How do you feel like you've benefited from this?
Well, Mr. Comey, I must say, back in my middle school, it was a very restrictive environment. It was like, we have to learn this year. You can't, it's not flexible in middle school. So when I came to prep and I found that I was placed in chemistry, I was so relieved because I knew I wanted to pursue a career surrounding that aspect of science. So coming from me, I want to say that I am truly appreciative of this kind of curriculum. I think it's benefited the students because I actually doubled up on science last year. And I know that was something I really wanted to do all 4 years. I wanted to do that. And I think I've gotten so much out of it. The benefits are tremendous. So I love it, Mr. Comey, and I think we should keep going for it as long as we can.
Thank you, Connor.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, sorry, give me a minute. I just got a question in the chat. Okay.
Connor, I can maybe help you out with this one.
Sorry.
This is a question for Dr. Gomez, and we're going to try to keep him on screen and see if we don't have that lag issue anymore. So the question is, can you please tell us how prep can distinguish itself from other Jesuit high schools in the New York metro area and help accepted students choose your school? Now, you have a different perspective since you led a Jesuit school in Philly, but if you could take a shot at this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had the chance of working at two other Jesuit high schools, one in Omaha, Nebraska, Creighton Prep, and then St. Joe's Prep in Philly. I mean, any Jesuit high school that you're going to attend in this area is terrific. I would be foolish to not answer that way. But Prep is in downtown Jersey City. It is what I like to call the gem of downtown Jersey City, with the beautiful waterfront and the transportation hub. And its continued growth. I wouldn't compare prep to another school, but if you were to ask me what is sacred about St. Peter's Prep, it goes back to my closing point, that there is that brotherhood here, unlike anything that I've experienced, and that when you walk into this school, you will feel at home. It's a promise that when you walk up those front steps at Grandin Warren, that you walk up a boy and you walk out a man.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. Now I would like to go over to our art department. I'm going to introduce Ms. Klim. She is a professional artist. And Ms. Klim, the question I have for you today is, how does Prep's art program differ from other high schools? And what are the benefits of taking art in high school?
Those are two great questions, and welcome everybody. Coming to you live from the St. Peter's Prep Art Studio on the 4th floor of the English building. I'm going to share with you a very short presentation to answer some of those questions, maybe some things you might not know about having art in the high school program. So let me share my screen. Okay. So there's 5 benefits of art classes. Of course, there's more than 5, but these are 5 major ones. Art helps improve fine and gross motor skills. So athletes, think about that. Creating means learning to make decisions and problem solve. Art teaches you to be more aware of yourself and others. Creating art teaches focus and perseverance. Analysis shows that the verbal and math SAT scores of students taking art, any form of art, were higher. So parents, I bet you like that. Why are the arts at Prep unique? Well, St. Peter's Prep has one of the most robust and comprehensive fine arts programs in Hudson County, as well as in the surrounding area. I know of a couple schools in the area who don't even have arts programs anymore or are cutting them, and ours is growing. As a private school, we offer individual attention as well as courses in music, theater, and our music person will talk more about that later, creative writing, and in the visual arts combined. We also have an art club and publish a visual arts magazine called The Marauder. You get it, guys? The Marauder is our mascot. Prep students have the opportunity to take an arts course every year to build upon learned skills and to explore new ones. I've had a lot of AP students say they really enjoy having the break of academic studies and having an art course in the middle of their day. At the senior level, visual arts students have the unique opportunity to design their own curriculum based on personal interest. And they also build their own websites too. So if you are interested in having a high school experience that encompasses all aspects of dynamic learning in an innovative environment, Prep is for you. And here are some pictures of museum trips we take, some printmaking, some design work. Here's our portfolio group from last year. Please check out our website for more information and follow us on Instagram. I really hope you think about having a program that offers everything to you and your sons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klim. So next, I would like to go to our history department. Unless Ms. Fitzpatrick, do we have any questions that came up?
Nope, we're good. We can move on. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, I'm going to introduce Mr. Verdi of our history department. And Mr. Verdi, a question I have for you is, aside from the course content, what is the most important lesson you would like students to take from their history classes?
That's a great question, Connor. You know, the study of history and all social sciences really is much more than content learned in textbooks. And this is usually the experience that many students have before they come to prep. It's content driven. And we changed that approach to our history classes. We base our curriculum on critical thinking, on historical thinking skills. And we want our students to interpret and draw intelligent conclusions in order to analyze and understand these events, these historical events that they're learning about, and not just know the names and the dates. Because it's simply, you know, it's more than just simply understanding and knowing names and dates and major events of the past. You know, students should recognize, we want students to recognize that everything has a history, right? Sports have a history, video games have a history, technology has a history, their families, our school. Dr. Gomez mentioned that we're going to be celebrating 150 years of history in our school in St. Peter's Prep. And a lot has happened in the United States and in the world while St. Peter's Prep was in existence, right? So everything has a history. And then if they know the history before they really begin any path in life, if they know of the history of it and continue to learn and study it, they can be better at anything they want to pursue. You know, it'll make them better lifetime learners. You know, the last 12 months or so have been very challenging and confusing time for students. And, you know, studying history is about understanding humanity and our world. It's about understanding people and the context of actions and events, you know, the changes over time and what causes that change. You know, so it's important to understand all of this if we want, you know, want to understand what is happening in our world today. And in particular, you know, we could focus on the last year or so of our, in our world. You know, these are extraordinary times, and the way current events may be depicted, and that students see it in the media or in conversations, talking with family or friends, can be confusing to them and confusing to understand causation, causes and effects. So we want our students to make connections between events of today and events of the past. But ultimately, you know, we want our students to think critically about the past, to recognize the similarities, as well as how we have changed as a civilization, be able to communicate intelligently about the past and its consequences that affect us today. We want them to be able to do that and graduate prep with the tools to become good citizens and better leaders and good decision makers for our country and for the world. You know, I would like to ask, I would actually like to ask Johnny Brooker, who is one of my current students and who's on this panel. He is one of my senior students in AP Government, AP US Government and Politics. I'd like to just ask Johnny, as in his experience as a student at prep in history, what his experience has been outside of just content and how he's applied that to his understanding of the world around him.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. So, from my experience these past 4 years, so at prep, you only need 3 years of history, but I decided I was going to take history every single year, and I've taken every single AP history that prep offers. So pushing ahead of just content, like prep, like all the teachers that I've had, they embrace conversation. Like we're allowed to ask questions. We're trying to find what went into the history, like why somebody like this, why did George Washington make the decision going into the war and combat? And it's just that when prep, we're allowed to just come together and have what we call Socratic seminars and discussions, just learning the context of why things happen. That just makes us better people, just knowing about our history, because if we know about our history, we know what happened in the past, we can move forward, and it helps us know what's going on currently in today's society. Just makes things easier. So making those connections of what happened to the past, we're able to do that with having discussions amongst our peers and our classmates and our group and our teachers. They allow us to have those different conversations, and then they also take part in them as well. They might put their opinions in there, but as well our opinions that we have and that we come up with due to the context from the content that we picked up and learned from our educational background, just all comes together, and it just makes it easier. So learning history at prep, yes, there's a lot of content involved, but just putting our spin on it and finding out why something like this happened, it just more of the merrier. It just makes things better. So learning history at prep has been a great experience for me.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny. And Mr. Verdi, I was going to ask a question about how we processed the election with the students and the inauguration, but you've kind of answered that in some ways. Is there anything you want to add to that?
I'm sorry, Trish, you faded out on me a little bit.
Yeah, it was just a question that came in about how we process the election and the inauguration with our students.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. We speak about a lot, especially in my class. I teach AP US Government and Politics, so it's an ongoing discussion. It has been an ongoing discussion for many months. Obviously, with not just the process of presidential elections and the Electoral College, but also the politics of it and division and polarization within our country. And we look past and we allow students to interpret and discuss their own views and interpret other views, and we're able to have these civil discussions based on government politics within our classrooms that isn't driven by bias. And as I said before, we want our students to come to their own conclusions. We want to teach them to think, not how to think or what to think. I'm sorry. With the recent events in the Capitol and the inauguration, it's obviously brought some interesting discussion into classrooms, and not just in my AP government classroom, but into all history classrooms, and what that means sort of in a bigger picture of history. And on January 6th, trying to compare that to events in the past and maybe what that means for the future of our country and how we need to come together in a democracy. And then obviously the importance of an inauguration and the peaceful transition of power, and how we're all affected by that. So that's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Verdi and Johnny. So next, I would like to go to our languages department. I'm going to introduce Mr. McGovern. And Mr. McGovern, I heard that you were a championship hurdler when you were a student at Prep. Congratulations to you. And the questions I have for you today is, why is it beneficial for students to take Latin? And will it be a disadvantage for a student who has a modern language in middle school if they do not have that class as a freshman?
Oh, great question. Well, first of all, the hurdling was a very long time ago, but I'm happy to revisit that. And as for your question about studying Latin at the school in combination with other modern languages where students will be exposed to two languages and sometimes more at the school, I can say that I currently teach both Latin and Mandarin at the school. And I'm also an alumnus. It's my foundation at the school studying Latin. I love studying Latin when I was at the school. When I was a student, Mr. D'Angelo, our principal, started his career at the school as Prep's German teacher. So I had a great time studying German at the school, participating in the German exchange, going to trips to New York City to see German movies. And I went on in college to study German and Chinese, and I had a long career working in China and in Shanghai and studying and then working in Taipei. And what I would have to say is that before all that, when I was in grammar school, I did not do well in grammar school languages. I had no idea that I was had that potential to do well in languages. It was actually my first exposure to Latin after struggling with languages in grammar school that really gave me the basics in how languages work, that gave me the confidence to do well in German and pursue Chinese in college. So then there's other students who might be doing very well in their grammar school Latin and might be in grammar school, say Spanish or French, and be a bit frustrated that they have to take that freshman year to study a foreign language. And I would say Latin is the root of many of the modern languages, Spanish, French, Italian, many grammatical similarities with German. So it's actually an opportunity and a unique place to really get a much deeper foundation in the language. Learning Latin is really like learning the science of languages, and you can learn how they work and apply it on a much deeper level to other languages. And I'd also like to ask a student, Mr. Brooker. I currently have as a senior, he's taking an elective now in Mandarin. So I just wanted to ask, what was your experience studying, I think, 3 different languages at the school over your career?
Yeah, totally. So I took Latin freshman year, and then sophomore and junior year I took Spanish and Spanish 2 honors, and now this year I'm currently taking Mandarin. So yeah, taking 3 languages, you may see that it's like, wow, why is a kid trying to kill himself? I still can't answer that question either. But learning the language, I can't lie, has it been a little bit of a challenge? Yes, but I put that on myself, and with that, with everything I do, I always try to put my 100% in everything that I do. So taking these 3 languages, I've learned a lot, especially this year in Mandarin. When I see a couple symbols, I have an idea of what is being said. Like I know what the writer is talking about, and I'm learning how to use those strokes and writing out in Chinese, and at the same time I'm learning how to speak. So especially with Mandarin, just the approach that Mr. McGovern takes, it's like a step-by-step approach, and it's shown to be proven to be effective. And I think that's how it's shown with every single language, because we have not only Mandarin, but Spanish, French, Italian, Latin, and like all the kids, like when you have conversations about the different languages, it's like a common thing, it's a step-by-step process. So just taking these languages, it just makes you like it gives you the total package and makes you a more diverse person, because we live in a country where it's very diverse, and you meet very different people down the line. It's like when I go to college in a few months and I see somebody that speaks a different language, I believe that, especially in Spanish, because I took that for 2 years, I can have a clear conversation, have an understanding on what they're trying to relay to me, and then vice versa. So taking these 3 languages it's been a privilege, and I enjoy my experience I've had so far. Only a few more months left.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Brooker. And we were mentioning at the start that we'll be celebrating our 150th anniversary. Since its founding, Prep has always had a strong foundation in the classics. And now we're a school that still has Latin. All freshmen are required to take Latin, but you can take Latin for 4 years. And we're one of the few high schools in the area that has a very wide language offering. We offer Spanish, French, Italian, German, and now also Mandarin. They're all up to the AP level, and Mandarin is also, you can get college credit for it at St. Peter's College. So based on that classical past, we were fully engaged with the global mission of the school.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Thank you, Johnny. Now I would like to move to our performing arts department, Ms. Fensick, who is our tennis coach. She coaches with her father at Prep. And Ms. Fensick, how do the performing arts contribute to the formation of the whole person at Prep? And can you also comment on the diverse mix of students who take part in the performing arts?
Thank you so much, Connor, for that question. So as Connor said, my dad and I coach together, and I think that's where I start this story. My dad is class of 70 and my brother is class of 98. And that's what honestly has brought me back to Prep. I know we keep saying that it is Prep for life, but it's interesting to talk about the performing arts and why it is Prep for life. Over the past 25 years, the program has really changed and developed. The piano behind me actually was brought here in 1994, and I was one of the very first people to play it. My brother was in the concert band at the time, and it was just a great moment for me to really see how is this environment and how do we bring it together. So when we're talking about how does the performing arts weave into the very fabric of Prep, we have to look at everything that is offered here. We have concert band, jazz ensemble, pep band, Vox, the vocal group. We also do have a big theater kind of company in a way, where we do produce a winter drama as well as a spring musical. There's an opportunity for students, even as freshmen, to get involved with all these electives during the school day, as well as doing things after school at the end. The population of the ensembles really is different and unique. We do have a mixed group of students, from scholars to athletes. Any given day, we have members from the crew team, the soccer team, the tennis team, the basketball team. It always seems that they're going back and forth between athletics and also the performing arts, but we make it work. We want everybody to have the opportunity to do as much as they can. As I always say, whatever you put into prep is what you're going to get out of it. And that is one of those moments that we really try to work with everybody. On an overall, I know from my perspective, also as a coach and balancing coaching and also doing everything with Vox, we do find a balance. But I do want to pass it over to Andrew Smith, who is also one of our panelists today, and maybe he could speak a little bit more about his experience as a person who is in Vox, the musical, as well as a member of our crew team.
Thank you, Ms. Fenzik. I think balancing all of these different activities, from Vox to dramatics to the crew team, like Ms. Fenzik said, it is very manageable at prep, and that is one of the things that I do love about prep, because I'll touch on this later in my presentation, but we have this great thing called community period, where you can go to your activities during the day and then still participate in a sport after school. So there is that balance, and it is very manageable and possible to balance all these things at the same time. So yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. I just want to speak to the one question that I am seeing in the Q&A. With the music ensembles and with piano players, usually it's me playing, but we're always looking for, a different way to incorporate anyone who does play the piano. They have the opportunity to be involved with jazz ensemble, but we also do have opportunities for solo recitals, as well as performances during our winter and spring concerts. So I look forward to meeting many of you in the future, and congratulations on being accepted.
Thanks, Ms. Fenzik. One thing I want to add is we do have some really talented young men here, and we did go last year to see somebody play at Carnegie Hall, which was fantastic. So a question that comes up often is, no girls here at St. Peter's. Can you talk about, how we populate the female roles in our musicals and plays? And if you could also, Ms. Fenzik, briefly touch on the role of dance in terms of choreography, that'd be great.
Great. So yes, we do not have girls here on campus. However, we do honestly pull from, if you're a teenager, female in New Jersey or New York. Most of the students that we do use that are part of our programs come from Bayonne High School, St. Dominic's Academy, High Tech. We've had some girls from Notre Dame, and we've also had some even this year from Milburn and Chatham High School. So any female is allowed to be a part of our productions. Right now we're working on our remote musical, and they're actually in rehearsal right now. And we do have, many different students that they have the involvement, they have the opportunity to be a part of it. It does not matter what school they go to. In terms of dance and choreography, our theater teacher, Mr. Adam Boley, and one of our directors up in the advancement office, Miss Dama Santana, they take care of the choreography for all of the shows. So pretty much when it comes to musical, that's really the main time when we have the opportunity for any type of dance involvement here at Prep.
Thank you, Ms. Fenzik, and thank you, Andrew. Now I'm going to move on to our math department. We have Ms. Stark here today. And Ms. Stark, what would you say to a parent whose son has taken algebra in 8th grade? What does Prep have to offer for students who have a passion for math?
Thank you, Connor, and thank you for leading us through today's activities. I'm Ms. Stark. I'm in charge of the math department, and this is my 15th year at Prep. First of all, I'd like to speak to students who are passionate about math. I think what's most important for you to know is our math department faculty is also very passionate about math. One of the evidences about that you can see is that many of us have pure math degrees ourselves from universities like Georgetown, Rutgers, Stevens. We have some engineering background, NJIT. So, during a regular school day, during community period, it's not unusual for students to wander into a math teacher's classroom, hang out, and just do some problems on the board. I know Eric Hahn is one of our students who likes to do that, bring in a challenging problem. So we foster that sort of environment for students to, whether it be they need help or they want to talk about more challenge, we love to engage with the students at that level. In terms of high-level curriculum, yes, we do offer BC Calculus, AP Stats. I think what's important for you to know is also most students have access to take calculus by their senior year. We run 10 sections of different types of calculus for our seniors. So as other high schools, the capstone course might pre-calculus. For most of our seniors, they're able to take either an introductory calculus course. Calculus honors now for us has been, we're in partnership with St. Peter's University. So students who elect to also co-register with the university can get up to 8 credits of mathematics from St. Peter's without even taking an AP course. And then of course we offer AP, AB and BC. We also have statistics as part of an elective in our curriculum. So students don't only have access to AP stats, but we also have a semester elective for the sophomores or juniors. Statistics is really the language of mathematics that's most useful for our world right now. As a professional, you will have people who absolutely love and use calculus, but for our world right now, and I think everyone can see it's so critical to have literacy of statistics in reading what is going on in the world today. So we have those types of offerings in addition to students have brought different competitions to me in the past. As far as the Moody Mega Math Challenge, it goes by a different name now, but that's a weekend where we spend 12 hours together and the students work out a mathematical modeling problem on their own. We've entered engineering design competitions through MIT. It's really what the students, what I love about prep is we give them the opportunity to say, what are you interested in? And they bring it to us and we help them with it. Our robotics team has been robust over the years. And as far as you can see behind me, we have a chessboard in this classroom. So there's a chess team that will hang out just during the weekday. And you'd be surprised the passion behind that on a regular weekday that we get behind chess. So that's for the passion. I guess for the question, my son's taken algebra. What about freshman year? So most students at prep have seen some level of algebra. So his peers in his class will also have seen that. And our curriculum and our instruction just take that into account. My question for the parents who are asking about freshman year algebra is, what do you want your sons to take their senior year? What do you want them to have taken by the time they leave prep? So what we did was we took a look at where we want our students to be, and we want most students to have access to the calculus. So our calculus bench is deep in terms of our instruction. We don't just have the one calculus teacher at our school. We have multiple calculus teachers, right? That we can share the AP burden or share the calculus honors and give students who would normally only get a pre-calculus level course access to a business style applications course that uses technology. So we have a lot to offer. And at different levels of challenge for students. The reason students have a placement test in the spring, right, that you'll be, as you're joining us, that you'll be taking. Some students are able to show us full proficiency of an Algebra 1 course and are able to completely place out and take an honors Algebra 2 trig course in their freshman year. What that does for us, though, is it gives us everyone on the freshman year more or less takes an algebra course. So if you're in an Algebra 1, our accelerated Algebra 1 program, which is the majority of where our students start, their teacher can give observations and say, you know what, this kid, he really could handle the higher level course, and we can move him into that course typically within the first marking period. So we first go based off of the placement test and then off of teacher observation. We also have an opportunity for students to show after their freshman year, if they want to hop up into our high level honors courses, there's a summer bridge course that you can take. So ultimately we know that where your son starts off is not necessarily where he's going to end up. Our tracks are not so interacted that only certain students have access to higher level curriculum. Everyone really has access to higher level curriculum at our school. I think that's what I have for right now, unless Connor has any other questions.
I think we're good on math, but you being a female a female department head, and you're not the only one, it leads me back to an interesting question that we got earlier, and I'd like to direct it to our librarian, Ms. Friedlander. So it's, how do you incorporate female perspectives and the role of women in society in the curriculum? And perhaps more broadly, how do we, we have about a 50-50 male-female ratio in terms of the staff here, faculty and staff, but how do we recognize the accomplishments of women? So if I'll turn it to Ms. Friedlander.
That's such a great question, and maybe something that some of you were thinking but didn't want to ask. And it's certainly something that I thought about when I joined the prep community. And I named Ms. Friedlander. I'm one of the librarians at prep. We have two. I'm not sure if I can speak about curriculum, but I can definitely speak about what I try to do in the library, which is choose books and create programs that incorporate lots of different views, and something that's really important to me is making sure there's a lot of female viewpoints in the books that I order. And I have one to show you. This is a book that I just bought, and this is about the first woman to join a Major League Baseball team. It's a novel, not real, unfortunately. It's called The Season of Daring Greatly. So this is something that I get really excited about, that I can find books like this that might connect with a student who might not be interested in reading something girly, put that in quotes because that's silly. So that's something that's really important to me. Also, when I bring in speakers like authors, I love to bring in female authors just so they can get that perspective.
Trish, I could jump in just really quickly to compliment Skye on the curriculum question. At least in the English department, we've worked really hard to diversify our selections over the past few years. So we really look to bring in the female perspective as well as the male perspective, and then even burgeoning beyond that with a lot of different backgrounds of people as best we can. So we work very well with Skye and the library because we need to. We rely on them for a lot of our work. And the only other thing I'll mention is our summer reading program is a choice program where the boys can select from over 200 titles. And that's another really great way that we can incorporate, female perspectives as well as male perspectives.
Thank you, Ms. Friedlander, and thank you, Mr. Caulfield. Now we're going to move to our religion department. Mr. Fiorella, today's a big day for you. You are from upstate New York. You're a Bills fan. So I know you're very excited about the game later today. So best of luck to your team. And the question I have for you today is, why is it important that students take religion for 4 years at prep? And can you also comment on that requirement as it relates to our students who are not Catholic?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Connor. And I just want to say that I'm delighted to be here this afternoon to welcome our accepted students. Yes, thank you for the little disclaimer as well. I am a Buffalo Bills fan, so if I seem like nervous right now or I'm kind of tripping over my words, it's because of the anxiety that's being induced by the game that's later, so just bear with me. One of the other things that I am known for here at St. Peter's is taking the questions that students give me and reframing them. And I think the question that it's at the top of the slide does that. Why is it an exciting time to study religion at St. Peter's? And there are a myriad reasons why it is exciting. To start, for hundreds of years, the Jesuit educational tradition has had religion or theology in their curriculum. And one of the other reasons why, just kind of a technical reason, but really a great reason to study religion is because in most cases, kids that go on to different colleges and universities, particularly Jesuit or Catholic colleges and universities, will be obliged to study theology or some kind of religious studies course in the future. But I think the bigger picture here is that the world that our young kids are emerging in is changing. In particular, the world, for as big as it is becoming closer. And what I mean by that is, technology these days, as we've experienced, as we're experiencing right now, has brought us together in ways like never before. The world is becoming more diverse. If you look at cities, for instance, New York City or even Jersey City, which is one of the most diverse cities in the world, people are flooding these urban centers. And the world is also becoming more religious. So what this all means is that on a day-to-day basis, no matter who you are, whether you're a kid in high school or later in life, you most likely are going to be interacting with people who come from different parts of the world and see the world differently, which is why studying religion in general is essential for becoming a global citizen. But it's also essential for life. If you think about it, whether you're here at prep, which is very diverse, relatively speaking, or if, later in life when you're in college or beyond, you are going to encounter other people and you're going to be invited to create relationships with other people. And those people that you're creating relationships with most likely will see the world in a particular way. And to have a perspective of how they see the world can only deepen those relationships, which is essential to creating a global community. Part of the question that Connor asked previously was, why 4 years? And I think there's a really simple answer to that, and that's that religion has there's a lot of big questions that the study of religion interrogates. And it's a vast subject. It's something that can't be, just surveyed over the course of a semester. There's a lot of breadth and a lot of depth, and that takes a lot of time. To give you a little idea of what the curriculum looks like quickly, we start off freshman year asking those really big questions, starting to set a foundation, right? What is religion? What is spirituality? Who or what is God? And then we segue into Old Testament studies, and then sophomore year into the introduction to the New Testament. So from there, and within their first 2 years, students have started to ask these big questions, and they'll also have a really solid base of scripture studies, which leads to Christian ethics. And for all my young guys out there, ethics is basically asking ourselves, well, how do we make decisions? And by junior year, you're ready to tackle those more complicated ideas. And then by the time you get to senior year, you'll see there's this menu of options, from finding God in all films to bioethics, to world religions, to art and spirituality. And I think, one of the other things too that Connor mentioned, I think this was the second part of his question, is, for the non-Catholic students, going back to all the reasons that I mentioned here, it doesn't matter whether you're Catholic or not. These are all things, all these reasons to study religion are things that can benefit you. So I would encourage, if there are any further questions, to please contact me at any time. You can find my name on the website, obviously. And of course, we have a Q&A going, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions. I think I'm going to send it back to you, Connor, unless there's a follow-up cue for me.
I think we're good, Russ.
Okay, wonderful.
Hi, folks. Sorry about that. Connor's having a couple of technical issues. So at this point, I'd like to turn the program over to Miss Randall, who has a couple of our wonderful students with her.
Wonderful. And Miss Randall, just a question I think Connor was going to share with you. If you and Nate could talk about the importance of the service requirement in a student's development at St. Peter's. And then also Mr. Fiorella touched on it briefly, but can you and perhaps Johnny comment on the prep experience for our students who are not Catholic?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Irvin. I am Mrs. Randall. I am the Assistant Director here at St. Peter's Prep in our Office of Campus Ministry. Here at Prep, I always like to say campus ministry is not something we do, but it is truly who we are. Campus ministry is a part of the mission and the identity here at St. Peter's Prep. And through our office, we coordinate many things. We coordinate all of our liturgies and prayer services, our retreats, and many of our service opportunities. Just as Dr. Gomez started with a word of prayer at the start of this program, we begin each and every school day with prayer as well. I fully recognize that this might be a little different for many of you who may be transitioning from public schools where that's not the case, but I promise you it will quickly become a part of your daily routine. We are fortunate enough to offer retreat programming for all of our students across their 4 years here at Prep. So much of that is detailed on our website, so I don't want to take too much time to get into it now. But for incoming freshmen, we do have our one-day Ignite retreat that is something you participate in before you even start taking classes. But again, you'll hear about that later. And to talk about our service program, sorry, our lights went off. There we go. So you have to be able to be flexible and remain calm at all times. It's the Prep way. To talk more about our service program, I have one of our seniors, Nate Jablonski, who is going to talk about service. So Nate.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Ms. Randall said, I'm Nate. I'm a senior at Prep and a member of the campus ministry team. At Prep, we have a motto of being a man for others. And a key component of that motto is service. At Prep, we highly encourage and enable students to partake in direct volunteerism. As students, we are greatly involved in a multitude of drives, ranging from our annual Adopt a Family program, which takes place over December as we attempt to provide a sense of holiday cheer for the families in need, to our food drives, which benefit our local food pantries. To help students accomplish these goals, we offer many opportunities to become involved in service programs at school. You can serve with campus ministry, help other students as a tutor, and work with some of our local partners. Moreover, Prep traditionally offers multiple opportunities to attend immersion trips throughout the summer. And in past years, students have traveled to Los Angeles, Alaska, West Virginia, Ecuador, Camden, and Philadelphia to volunteer with many of our long-standing partners. There are also a multitude of opportunities to become involved outside of school throughout the 4 years. And to not take away any time for the program, you can visit the campus ministry page. And when you're at Prep, talk to campus ministry, and they have a very extensive list of service groups that offer possibilities for students. Finally, I just want to say that we highly encourage, as a student, I highly encourage that you become involved in something outside of the classroom. I can speak from experience that while Prep does recommend and we offer programs inside of school, many students have come back from those programs and have become involved in volunteer groups and organizations outside of Prep, and it is a wonderful experience. So thank you.
Thanks, Nate. And to address the second question that was asked, specifically about students who are non-Catholic, here at a Jesuit high school, we pride ourselves on educating the whole person. And that remains true despite your faith background. And truthfully, roughly about 25% of our student body identify with a religion other than Catholicism. So we welcome and embrace this diversity with love, with respect, and with understanding. And Johnny, I'm gonna hand it over to you so that you can share a little bit more about your experience here.
Yeah, totally. So those that are coming to prep that are not Catholic, like as Randall said, I promise you there's nothing to worry about. So like, as you know, prep is a Catholic Jesuit school, but that is a and speak last year, basically to talk about our faith and everything that we believed in from A to Z, which was it was pretty neat. Furthermore, this year I was even able to show a clip of my dad's sermon in Mr. Caulfield's English class this year, which was pretty awesome as well. So personally, that showed me that prep cares and will embrace your faith and your religion. And I can confidently say that because I've seen it on a firsthand account. And then, and for example, about a year ago, the school implemented a prayer space that would be designated for students who practice Islam, which is very beneficial. Last year, personally, I was able to attend a Jewish club meeting, which comes to show that you don't have to practice a particular religion at prep to learn more about it, which is pretty neat. It was also different from a lot of other schools. We also every year during Thanksgiving, well, a couple days prior, we have our interfaith prayer service, which we hear from students and their perspectives about their faith and traditions. Diversity Board, which is a very big organization here at Prep, they have a religious roundtable where students just simply discuss their religion around their peers, and it's just a learning experience. So bottom line is Prep is a very diverse school in many ways. For starters, there are over 900 boys in one space, but we're diverse, especially in the area of religion. I will say this, you will learn about Catholicism in your Old Testament, New Testament classes, Christian ethics, and like different senior electives, but prep takes those things from an educational point of view. So you will learn about the Jesuit values of being open to growth, and then you will hear about living out the Magus. Yes, that is religious, but if you take that a step forward, these values and tenets that you will learn here about and gain as a student here at Prep, it only makes you a better overall person and a leader that's trying to make a difference in society. So bottom line is being a non-Catholic student at Prep has been nothing but a joy and a privilege because I'm able to embrace my own faith and traditions as well as
I think we lost Johnny's conclusion. Connor, we can go back to you now.
Of course, thank you. Could someone tell me if I sound okay? I'm so sorry. The computer just doesn't want to work right now. Do I sound okay?
You sound great.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over now to our athletic director, Mr. Hansen. And Mr. Hansen, as a varsity athlete myself, I know I love to win, but aside from the wins and championships, what lessons do you want prep student athletes to take with them after graduation?
Well, thanks for the question, Connor. Hope you can hear me as well. And thank you for your leadership today. You and Johnny are doing a great job. So it's a good question. I think, winning is important. And, but it's primarily the focus from the outside world, fans, media, our focus inside by our, 80 plus coaches and 700 plus athletes is more on the intangibles that enable individuals and teams to be successful. So the things that we try to focus on, encouraging a great work ethic, instilling discipline, having guys meld and mold into understanding and appreciating the team dynamic. And then, of course, trying to get guys to be coachable, coming from various different backgrounds and different coaching styles. It's really important that players, student athletes adapt to the kind of coaches that are here and understanding that, we're all in this together and we're really trying to get the best out of one another. So I think the work ethic, discipline, team dynamic, and the coachability are really things that transcend athletics and can, obviously be in the toolbox for athletes, student athletes to take with them beyond high school.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Now I would like to introduce two senior students, Andrew Smith and Ian Lee. I work with these guys closely in student council, and both of you have been very involved at St. Peter's Prep. And why is it important to be in a club or school activity? And how easy is it for a freshman to find something that interests them?
Thank you, Connor. It's a great question. So as you know, my name is Andrew Smith. I'm a senior from Bayonne. I'm a member of our student council, our diversity board, campus ministry team, and Vox, our chorus. I'm also president of our dramatics program and our Italian club. And I'm also captain of our varsity crew team. So the short answer to your question, Connor, is yes, it is very important, but this is for a number of reasons. Ian and I can both agree that we would not be the same men we are today without the impact of our activities. The great thing about prep is that there is vast opportunity within our activity programs. I've been able to perform at Radio City Music Hall with our chorus Vox. I've been able to race down the Charles River with my crew team. I've spent 2 weeks in Lima and Cusco, Peru studying art history, and I've even had the opportunity to host an Italian exchange student in my junior year. So our activities outside the classroom connect with our learning inside the classroom. So being involved in an extracurricular activity will just make you a stronger student in the classroom. At Prep, we recognize that working with our Prep brothers towards common goals in service will allow you to understand the importance of maximizing your time, increasing your determination, and strengthening those friendships. So there's a really collaborative culture at Prep when it comes to these activities, because students know if I help you, you help me, and we work together, we will both be more well-rounded and determined as a result.
Hello all, my name is Ian Lee. I'm a senior from Jersey City. At Prep, I'm the president of the National Honor Society, co-president of the Medical Club, a member of the Ignatian Scholars Leadership Team, Robotics Team, Academic Bowl Team, and a member of the St. Peter's Performing Arts Club. And I do run cross country in the fall for Mr. Caulfield. And I would say getting involved is very easy. To put it simply, as a freshman, the annual club fair at the beginning of the year is very much like a candy store. Upperclassmen with their vibrant, colorful posters, as you can see by the pictures, and charismatic personalities will lure you in with free food and tchotchkes to hear their minute presentations. And because Prep has so many, ranging from the Sneakerhead Collection Club to robotics to the Performing Arts Club, there truly is so many to choose from. And honestly, I would say it's actually harder to choose your favorites since there are so many. And to jump ahead of the curve, for those who may be wondering, what if I don't see a club I'm interested in or want to start a new one? Well, I say it's super easy to form your own. Grab at least 5 other guys and find a teacher moderator. And after answering a quick questionnaire about the student council, more times than not, we will approve your startup. You can receive club funding to explore your passions and interests. And for instance, just last week, the student council approved the philosophy club and the business club, and they were started by some sophomores.
So I just want to take a minute to touch on the difference between co-curricular versus extracurricular activities at Prep, since we do offer both. And I think the great thing about Prep, which you won't find at many other high schools, is that students really become well-versed in time management. So most of our activities take place during the school day rather than after school, because many students do participate in sports after school. So we have this great chunk of time during the day called community period, where you're able to go see a teacher or go to a club meeting during that 45-minute section in your day, just to take a break from your learning and then further your education in other things that you're interested in. So say on Monday, I would be able to go to an Italian club meeting, and then on Tuesday, I could go to a student council meeting, and then on Wednesday, I'd see teachers for academic support and still be able to go to crew practice after school. I've also been able to take vocal classes at Prep for the past 4 years during the day. So since I couldn't necessarily go to practice after school, since I had crew practice, I would be able to learn the music and the repertoire during the day, so I wouldn't miss as much after school at those rehearsals. So the use of co-curriculars at Prep is extremely beneficial. And then the final question that does come up a lot as you transition into high school, especially at Prep, is not seeing girls all the time. It is a popular question just because it's not what many people are used to. Usually I came from a school where it was co-ed, and I really did not know what to expect. So you will soon realize at Prep it is not as big of a deal as you may think. There are numerous activities, like Ms. Fenzik touched on earlier, that you can participate in. with our sister schools, girls from St. Dom's, Notre Dame, they all come to participate and do activities like our musical and our winter drama. So you will always see girls, and girls are always still a part of the prep community just as much as the men are. So we are also constantly hosting collaborations with other schools like Kent Place. In our junior year, we hosted a discussion on a social topic with our students. And in these discussions, we were able to develop meaningful conversations and learn through outside perspectives to better impact our understanding of the world we live in. So you will soon realize that it definitely is not as big of an impact as you may think.
Thank you both so much. That was really great. So before, just in being conscious of time, appreciate everybody hanging with us. I want to ask the 5 students for kind of a quick fire, a short answer question to an excellent question that somebody wrote in, and that is, what will you miss the most about prep when you graduate? And since we have Andrew here, let's start with you.
I think without a doubt, it will be the community. There at prep, there's just a community unlike anything else you have ever experienced. If you listen to the words Dr. Gomez said in the beginning of his speech, it is just nothing like you will ever experience. And for that, it's definitely, without a doubt, the community.
Okay, let's, we're going to give Johnny Brooker a shot. Well, hopefully his bandwidth is going to be okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay. Well, Andrew cooked my answer, but I would have to say the same thing. And I'll put it like this. Since my freshman year, before the school day, I always you go into the main building, I always make a right, and I go talk to Mr. Irvin, Miss Fitzpatrick, Miss Kazaza, and Miss Collins on base every single day. And just little things like that just starts my day off. So just being like, it's a part of the community, seeing my brothers every single day. It's like, especially with COVID, it's like, I'm not going to get that back. And like, I really appreciate that. And like, I'm going to miss that. And like speaking on like on a personal level with the teachers and then with my coaches, like Mr. Caulfield, that's my coach. And I also have the privilege of him having him as my teacher, and just having that relationship. It's insane. And I just don't take that for granted. And then with that, I had the opportunity to serve as student council president this year. So just being in grace and just being a part of the community, just something I just can't get back. And I truly enjoy it. And I know I'm gonna miss it every single day.
Thanks, Johnny. Let's go to Nate.
Oh, I think Andrew and Johnny both took my answer. But with COVID, I think I'm sure every prep student will feel the same way. We really realized how important the prep community is to us as students. Just a couple days ago when we came back for the first time, I couldn't sleep the night before. It felt like the first day of school again. I was so happy to see all my friends and the staff again. Then I got a little emotional in the morning, and last weekend realizing that we only have 3 months left as seniors of classes. So the community, the brotherhood, just the overall atmosphere of prep, that's what I'm going to miss the most. And it's kind of a hard thing to put into words. It's just the feeling that you have of what prep is, and it's just indescribable.
Thanks, Nate. Connor, how about you next?
So I have to agree with every single one of the other panelists. I mean, when we go to college, of course, we leave our family at home from where we're from, but also prep has become my second family. So I'm basically going to be leaving a second family. And to think about that, like Nick said, it makes me emotional because prep changed my life, and it is a second home and a second family for me. So leaving my actual family back at Pequannock and leaving my family here, I'm going to miss every single person, every single soccer game, every single memory that I made here. I'm going to miss the whole place, St. Peter's Prep, because it is truly a family. And of course, saying goodbye to a family is never easy. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor. Can Ian finish us off?
Sure. On top of what everybody said, between family, community, the support groups, I'm definitely also going to miss my brothers, but I'm also going to miss my teachers. They all have their unique senses of humor, whether it's dry or sarcastic, but they truly make learning at prep fun and engaging, whether we're in person or online. And something at prep where I don't think you'll ever find anywhere else is their accessibility. They're always there for you no matter what, whether it's before school, after school. They really try to make an effort to be that mentor, that second family for you, no matter what. And for me, that's been very precious and very something I treasure true to my heart.
Thank you, Ian. And just before we go to our final presenter, there was a question for Coach Hansen. Stuff's going on in the gym, and I think we got some kind of a nice gift. Could you talk about that?
Are you referring to the New York Sports Club?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so we've been fortunate to receive a donation from Matt Calley, and it's quite a bit of fitness equipment. So our athletic facilities are going to be improved tremendously over the next few weeks. We've already begun some construction work. We'll be receiving this equipment probably by the end of next week, early February, but it's going to mean such a great deal to our athletes to expand our athletic facilities, our strength and conditioning facilities, and also open up those opportunities to our students, non-athletes, and our faculty and staff. So really a great facelift in terms of improved conditioning and fitness equipment, and I think our guys are going to benefit from it tremendously.
Maybe a follow-up to that, you can just describe to them the crew room, which is relatively new.
Yeah, the erg room has been a great addition to our program. As you know, we compete in the fall and the spring, but our coach, who you guys that are interested in crew can contact, and everybody will be receiving communication from our coaches soon, from each specific coach with sport-specific information. But our crew coach and the staff do a great job, and the erg room is specific to the crew team. I think the guys that participate in crew have benefited from it greatly, and it's really improved their game. It's specific to crew. It's rowing. It's row equipment, but it's also strength and conditioning stuff. And they've taken advantage of it and have utilized it. And I think it's improved our sport and improved their ability to compete.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen. Thank you, Ms. Fitzpatrick. Now, I would like to introduce our principal, Mr. D'Angelo.
Great. Thank you, Connor. And thank you for leading us through today. And thank you, everyone, for being with us this afternoon. While social distancing and hybrid mode of education has prevented us from coming together in large groups this school year, I think you can see that we still feel the prep spirit, the spirit that has guided us in this school for close to 150 years. In addition to moving classes online, so have science labs, Model UN competitions, our plays and concerts, as well as masses and prayer services. So too have our relationships with several international partner schools in Europe and South America, which normally see groups from places like Brazil, France, Germany, Italy, Peru, and Spain visit prep each year. Much like you, our students here at prep continue to excel. For example, 19 of our current students, in addition to 43 from last year's senior class, 19 were recognized as AP scholars by the College Board for their outstanding work on multiple AP exams last spring. Everything that you've heard about today from our student presenters and also from our teachers, everything you've heard about is within your reach since you have been accepted to St. Peter's Prep. As a member of the class of 2025, you will be given many opportunities to collaborate with your classmates and your peers and to engage in great things together. You will be asked to assume responsibility for projects, large and small, things like designing and building sets for our plays, making sure our athletic practices form you and your teammates into better athletes and a better team. Writing, editing, and taking pictures for a newspaper or yearbook, producing videos in our media center, or working with our students and teachers in our state-of-the-art science labs. The opportunities really are boundless. You'll also have an opportunity to develop your spiritual life. Retreats, masses, and prayer services will allow you, regardless of your faith, to come to know your God better and to deepen that relationship for yourself. We welcome all faiths here. And as was mentioned, we most recently did open a Muslim prayer space for our students. Jesuit high schools around the world have tried to capture what we hope for in a sort of a catchy phrase: competence, conscience, and compassion. Those are more than just words here at Prep. They really are the foundations of all that we do, both inside and outside of the classroom. Prep is a big place with well over 200 students in each of our classes, and not very many of them from the same grammar school or middle school. But that is one of our great strengths. You know, Mr. Fiorella spoke about the diversity and the diversity that comes from that coming together. Students from so many different areas, big cities and small towns, and everything in between. Religious diversity, racial and ethnic diversity, academic and athletic diversity. You know, 140 different towns and cities in New York and New Jersey are represented among our student body today. The diversity that you find here at Prep reflects the real world of 2021 and what you will experience in college and beyond. None of you will choose Prep probably because it is the easiest option for your high school education. It's probably quite the opposite. But we understand that, and we try to incorporate that into our orientation programs, Big Brother programs, and our retreat programs. It is from these greatest challenges that we get our greatest rewards in life. From what you've shown us on your application, we believe that you, with all of your gifts, your talents, and your potential for growth, that you will help to make Prep an even better, even more Ignatian school than it is right now. We've said yes to you. All that remains is, will you say yes to Prep? I want to thank you again for joining us today. If you still have any unanswered questions, please send them to admissions@spprep.org. Registration to guarantee your spot in the class of 2025 remains open through noon on Saturday, February 6th. You can access the registration portal through your online account through which you applied. So our program today is ended. Thank you all for being here, and I wish you all a great day. Thank you very much.